All right, Prop the Mic, PTM, coming to you with a late night podcast for the first time in the history of PTM. We also have our first NFL football Sunday show. You excited, Dave?
Very excited. That's
Yes.
the beauty of football, though, is like, all the games are, for the most part, on Sunday.
Condensed.
So it gives us the flexibility to record late night, right? Which I love.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's fun. We got some college football going on right now, but we're going to talk about all of the games tomorrow, right?
Every single one. This isn't even like our NBA shows where we pick, on those big slates, we pick 5 or 6. We're going through all 14 games.
Okay. So without further ado, I think we just dive in, right?
Let's get going. We got a lot to cover.
All right, cool. So we are going to pull up our props.cash screens, which is what we really use for the vast majority of our analysis as we go through our picks. We're going to go through each game, and we will each have at least one pick per game. And then we'll put our best picks up on X after. Does that sound like a good plan?
Sounds like a plan.
All right, cool. All right, so let's start with the first game. We have Houston at Baltimore. Baltimore's minus 9.5, and the total in this game is 43.5. So relatively low scoring game, one of the lower scoring games of the day. But you see plenty of opportunity here, right? So tell me what you're thinking about here.
Yeah, so I'm going to give out some rankings almost for every single game here. I felt like we got burned a little bit on the Chiefs Lions game in looking backwards too much without taking into account the offseason moves and whatnot. So we really we both really like Warren Sharp. He puts out some really good information. So in terms of rankings, he has a preseason book that he publishes every year. So we took a lot of those rankings into account to look at some of these matchups. So when you hear me going through some of these rankings, these are Warren Sharp's rankings, which then we use as a starting point, a jumping off point to then make our plays here. So in this game, Houston Baltimore. Here's the matchup I'm liking the best. So Houston's front seven defensively is ranked 26th. Their secondary ranked 21st. So you got heavily bottom third of the league there. Whereas Baltimore's offensive line, number 3 overall, and their receivers, number 10. So that put me on Rashad Bateman, over 33.5 receiving yards. You can get that at minus 113 on FanDuel. I think you're getting a discount here because he only played 5 games before getting hurt last year. But look at those 5 games: 59, 108, 59, 17, and 42. He got injured in that last game there, so he cleared in 4 or 5 games, crushed it. Lamar Jackson's got a ton of offensive weapons. This is the best receiving room he's ever had in his career, with the additions of Odell Beckham and obviously with Bateman coming back. So love this play here: 33.5 yards over.
Love it. I actually drafted him on my fantasy team, so I'm hoping he just goes off. But yeah, he had some really monster catches too, if I recall. Yeah, I mean, look at that. In the first 2 games of the season last year, he had 2 40-plus yard catches. So you're talking about, what is this line? 33.5. He could basically take care of that in the first quarter on one catch. Yeah. So I love that play. Really good one. All right, cool. I'm going to go on the running side. I'm going. We're going to switch over here. We're going to look at our rushing props. We got Lamar Jackson. So when I looked at this earlier, it was at 49.5. So just for a little educational purposes, Props.Cash has 55.5 rush yards. But if you look down here, you can actually choose which book you want to get the line at, and we actually have it all the way down at 49.5 from DraftKings. So I'm going to click that. That's a major book, and obviously I'll take those extra 6 yards. And then I'm looking at the full season from last year, right? I mean, look at this guy. A lot of green, right? A little concerning that he started off the year against the Jets with 17 rush yards, but then followed that up with 119, 107, 73, 58, right? Just green after green after green. I think if I looked earlier, I think if he gets roughly 7 attempts, he's going to get this. I think it's a no-brainer. So Lamar Jackson over 49.5 rushing yards. I guess the only other thing is the Houston had a fairly weak, rush D last year. I'm hoping that continues this year. So
yeah. Sharp's got him at 26. Their defensive front 7, and Baltimore O-line at 3rd overall. So perfect. I think that shapes up nicely. Very good combination.
So those are our 2 picks there. Ready for the next game?
Let's move on.
All right, cool. So next one, we got Carolina at Atlanta. Atlanta is minus 3.5 at home. Total in this one is 39.5. So not going to be a ton of scoring in this game.
Nope.
But but there are some really good matchup opportunities I believe you're about to tell us. So go for it.
Yep. So just like we even worse than we saw with Houston there. Atlanta's front seven, 28th overall. Atlanta's secondary, 26th overall. And Carolina's offensive line just outside the top 10 at number 11. So with those matchups right there, I'm going Miles Sanders. I'm going to pull up Miles Sanders. Over 55.5 rush yards. You can get that at minus 113 on FanDuel. Did it go up since I...
No, but that's crazy. Look at that disparity.
Yeah,
55.5 at FanDuel and 60.5 at DraftKings. No. So I think, there's a lot of inefficiency in the market right now because I think, the books don't really know where to set these lines. Yeah. And you could see which books are conservative and which are aggressive. So take advantage of that. You get an extra 5 yards, which is huge. That's a 10% of the prop. So that's a great find there at 55.5.
Yeah, love that. He cleared this in his first 7 of 8 games last season. Obviously, he wasn't on Carolina, but his first 7 of 8, I like that. I like when I see a guy start off the season like that. Injuries, especially the running back position and whatnot. It's just a lot of wear and tear. So a guy who comes out of the gate storming like that, I love it. I think that would probably continue. You see that right there on the chart. And Carolina was really great rushing last year. Even after McCaffrey was left the team, they were number 4 in EPA per rush. Only 17% of their runs failed to gain yardage. That was 9th overall in the league. And they were 7th in yards after contact. So really good rushing. I think that speaks to their offensive line and coaching. And then Sanders had a career year in yards, touchdowns, and touches last year. And he was 8th. This I thought was really good and is great for a nice 55-yard rush number. He was 8th. Amongst all running backs last year in explosive run rate. So he can break one off. That was the one thing that Carolina did not do well last year, those explosive runs after McCaffrey left. And that's why they brought in Sanders. So I think we could see him get this easily tomorrow.
Yeah, and I think he's got less competition this year for the touches, right?
For sure.
If you scroll down, right, his rushing attempts, a lot of these games he was getting 10, 11, 12, 11, right? Not only competing with the other running backs, but also competing with his quarterback for rushing touches last year in Philly. So I could easily see this guy getting 15 plus touches. When his rushing attempts are north of 15 last year, he cleared in every single game except for one. Right? Look at that. So make sure you use those filters down there and take advantage of the fact that they don't fully know what his rushing. And
I think with Bryce Young there, the rookie quarterback in his first start, he's going to lean on his veteran running back there to he's going to get those touches. I think so. I think this is a great play.
And look at this. This is what I mentioned the other day on the show. Take advantage of the fact that there is a line set for the rushing attempts, right? So if I go to Rush A, his line is set at 16 attempts, right? Mm-hmm. I just showed you the filter of what happens when he gets 15 attempts, right? So take advantage. Use a data point that you can use to try to figure out what he may get.
Great. Yeah, that's a great call out, Dave.
Yeah. Thank you, Tom. I appreciate that.
You got it. What do you got for me?
This is probably the weirdest one I have today because I know nothing about this guy, but I just like the trend. Desmond Ridder. He I guess he started 4 games for Atlanta last year.
Games,
Yeah, the last 4 games. He what was I on? I was on a 17.5 passing attempts, which is kind of a weird one, right?
Yeah.
But his passing attempts was somewhere around what do we got here? 27.5. I think it was as low as 26.5. So I think that's a reasonably good play. I think he's got a good opportunity, now that he's taken over the helm. I would kind of discard this first game at New Orleans, and then I would look at these last 3 kind of as the real sample there. So I think he's had the whole summer to prepare, and I think he's going to come out and probably get at least 27, 28 passing attempts. What do you think about that one?
I love that you this didn't factor into your decision at all, but I love that you're picking a UC Bearcat right there to former quarterback of the Bearcats. So it's one of my alma maters. Love it. I'm high on him. I don't know if you remember from the preseason passing yards show. He was one of the guys I was on. So
I do remember that.
Yes. So I love this.
And then I think if you don't love the attempts, I think the other angle you can go would be passing completion. So they got the comp. That's at 17.5. And that looks even more attractive, right? He didn't get it in his first game, but let's discard that one. His last 3 at 22, 19, 19. So whichever you like more, passing attempts, passing completions, I think they're both good plays.
Looks solid. Yep.
All right, cool. Let's move on to, speaking of Cincy, we got Cincy, Cleveland. Where are you starting there?
All right, the matchup I want to take a look at right here. Cincinnati's secondary ranked 20th overall, but compare that with their front seven, which was sixth overall. So I want to take advantage of the secondary here, which is significantly weaker defensively compared to the front seven. And Cleveland has a great offensive line, fifth overall. So Deshaun Watson's going to have time to throw the ball and find some receivers here to exploit with that mediocre Cincinnati secondary. So I like Donovan Peoples-Jones over 34.5 receiving yards. You can get that on FanDuel, 34.5. It was earlier, at least.
FanDuel, DraftKings, even BetMGM, you can get as low as 33.5.
33. There you go.
Okay.
He had 8 receptions for 114 yards against Cincinnati in Deshaun Watson's second game after he came back last season. As you can see right there, he had a stretch in the middle of the season. Yeah.
Look at that.
Like both against Cincinnati. Yep. He had a stretch in the middle of the season. If you go back to the full season there, he had a stretch where he cleared this in 7 straight and 9 of 10. In those 10 games, he averaged over 68 yards in that 10-game stretch in the middle of the season. So I love this play. I also love his receptions, 2.5 receptions. It's pricey at minus 135 on DK. If you don't mind the juice, I think that's an even better play, 2.5 receptions. But obviously, I don't love the minus 135. So I think he also cleared that in 10 of those 11 games in the middle of the season, averaging 4.5 receptions. Yeah.
And I think Chase was out for some of those games, right? So that might be inflating it a bit. Am I correct? Chase?
No, wrong team. Peoples is on.
Oh no, Peoples is on the Browns. Yeah. Even better. So Chase definitely was not a factor.
Yes. No.
Yeah, Peoples-Jones was a big play for us in the futures pod too. So I love I love Peoples-Jones, and I think he's good for either of those. But I think I like the receiving yards better than the receptions, just because of the value. Well, just because of the value.
The value. Yeah, I agree. That's why that was my official pick there. But I just wanted to call out the receptions.
All right, so let's actually move to Cincy. Let's go to rushing yards. This is a weird one, so I want your opinion on this one.
Okay.
Joe Burrow. I think we can get this. 9.5 rushing yards.
Yep.
So if you look, he started off last year 47 rushing yards versus Pittsburgh, and then followed up with 26. Kind of up and down. But towards the end of the year, where the games kind of mattered. Even in the playoffs, he was putting up 30 plus rushing yards, and he tends to get right around that 10 rushing yard mark. So,
do you mind clicking on the division split? I'm curious to see. I feel like in high leverage division games, he might clear this more often, and that's what he's going to have here tomorrow.
Where do I get that?
The split. Scroll over all the way to the end of the splits.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's not bad, right?
Not bad. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I just think he's kind of a big time player. I think the risk is, he just is coming off of an injury that kind of was putting his first game at risk. So I think that might, have him running less, but I don't think he's doing any planned runs anyways.
No,
these are all just like broken down plays where he's going to take off and get a first down and kind of going back to the, the full season. Like I remember that game against KC, he just, when he needed the yards, he finds the yards. Kind of like Mahomes. So I like that play. It's just it could be over in one rush. So you good with that?
I'm good with that. I like it.
All right, cool. All right, next we got San Francisco at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's getting 2.5 at home. Total is 41.5. Before we dive into the prop here, you were calling a potential Pittsburgh upset. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I'm very high on Pittsburgh. What was that?
You feel like they might win tomorrow, huh?
Yes. I might have that money line sprinkled in a thing or two over here. I like Pittsburgh a lot. A lot of things coming out a little bit that I was reading. A lot of praise for Kenny Pickett. The guys on the team really seem to believe in this guy. So I'm pretty high on Pittsburgh here. Not a lot of matchups here because I think Pittsburgh's stats are a little wonky because they finished the season really well. They got off to a bad start. So I don't think that it's representative of how good they actually are. And San Francisco is very good defensively. They show up, as not a team you'd want to target, offensive position players at. But all that being said, I like George Pickens here, over 42.5 receiving yards, minus 113 on FanDuel. He did it in his last 4 or 5 games, averaging 58. His last 6 of 8, averaging 54. His last 4 home games, averaging 72.5. He was 4th amongst rookie wide receivers last year in targets, in catches, in yards, and he was 3rd among rookie wide receivers in yards per catch at 15.5. He led Pittsburgh receivers with 4 touchdowns last year, and this one I thought was cool. He had a 14% inaccurate target rate which is very high. So that means that he got unlucky. He had a couple bad throws to him. That will not be that high. I think he will have some positive regression there. And he also led Pittsburgh with a 9.5 yards per attempt. So this guy's a stud in the making. Well, not a stud, but I think he's someone they're going to rely on. He's a young player that has a lot of potential. So over 42.5 receiving yards, George Pickens.
I think you can call him a stud confidently.
Yeah,
and not retract that. That's
okay.
He's
a stud. He's a stud.
Look at that. Look at those yards. He's a star in the making. And look at the targets too, right? 53% hit rate overall in the season. Mm-hmm. But as we raise up the targets, right? Once he gets 5 targets, he's up to an 80% hit rate. Mm-hmm. 6 targets, 75. So it's really that five target is kind of his sweet spot. You're going to tell me he's not going to get targeted 5 times tomorrow? I think that's a piece of cake. So
yeah.
Excellent. I love that pick. That's a great one. I was looking at him too.
Thank you.
Instead, I went the safe route. An anytime touchdown play. You and I were talking about this one earlier. It's actually going to be part of a collab that we do coming out later. But we got Christian McCaffrey over one touchdown. I'm not even going to talk about this. Just look at that. Look at that chart from Props.cash. We got
that 9 straight.
9 straight. I don't remember what week he came over to San Francisco. Was probably somewhere around here, sometime in October, I think it was.
Yeah.
But it kind of looks like he went like maybe 2 weeks without scoring in San Francisco, and that's it. So, and he's just so versatile. You can get him from a receiving touchdown. You can get him from a rushing touchdown. He even threw a touchdown, I think, last year, but that won't count for this prop. Yeah. But this one's to me a no-brainer. You get it for plus 100. Just play this one with confidence. Even though the Pittsburgh defense is decent, I still love it. Okay.
Yep.
All right, cool. Next, we got Arizona at Washington. This is one of the bigger spreads in the game. Believe it or not, Washington's -7, and the totals are pathetic, 38.5. What do you like here?
I don't love those 7 points. I think that's insane. I don't know why Washington is. They would think Washington's that much better than Arizona, but I don't know. That just
Arizona's rough, but
they're rough. Washington's pretty rough too. Let me go through some of this right here. Arizona's defensive front 7, the worst in the league, according to Warren Sharp. Their secondary, 29th overall. That's on the Arizona side. On the Washington side, Washington's offensive line, 30th. Washington's QB, oh, poor Sam Howell, number 32. He's got him dead last. So what does this mean? I think Howell's going to have dump-offs to Antonio Gibson when he's under pressure. I like Antonio Gibson over 18.5 receiving yards, -115 on DK. In 2022, he had a career high 58 targets, career high 46 catches. He's taking over J.D. McKissic's role. He had an 80% completion percentage, by far and away the best on the team. He finished the season up clearing this in 4 of his last 5. And then I also just love it's kind of just a one-off, but he had 72 receiving yards in that first game last season. So maybe we get a repeat again this year. So Antonio Gibson over 18.5 receiving yards.
I love that. Look at that. And he just missed it.
Missed it. Yeah.
Right. So if you're a little hesitant on that, you could also maybe even same game parlay this at 15 yards or 16 yards. But I still think, look at the end of the season. This is phenomenal. Yeah. All right, cool. Very good. What did I have in this game? All right, let's go back to the quarterbacks. This is a battle of like 2.
Yeah. This is brutal.
Not great quarterbacks. Let's go look at the passing yards. All right, so Howell's at 218 and Dobbs is at 210. I wanted to fade them both, but I'm fading Dobbs. I just think he doesn't have a lot of weapons from a receiving standpoint, and he's going up against a Washington defense that is solid, right? Yeah. So I think this is a bad spot for him. He doesn't have a ton of experience. He did get some starts last year, but yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of data to support this, but I just feel like this is a bad matchup.
Rookie head coach, rookie quarterback, you're both in their first game. Yeah, it's a fade spot for sure.
And I think both teams, given the inexperience at the quarterback position, are going to be running the ball a lot, and that's reflected in the 38.5 total. So I think the clock is going to move very quickly in this game, and I think for him to get over 200 rushing passing yards is going to be rough. So so you can get that 210 at PointsBet, or I still like it at 208 at FanDuel. And again, look at that. DraftKings has it at 200 and Caesars has it at 197. So
you got to shop these around.
Yeah, so go over to FanDuel.
Props.cash makes it very easy to shop around.
Oh, so easy. This is like the best feature. You used to have to pop over to the odds page, which was still great, but it was 2 touches. Now everything is at your fingertips to make like the best decision. So it's such a good move. Code PTM for 25% off. A little halfway point in the show to promote it. I love it. All right, cool. Let's move on. Next one, we got Tampa Bay at Minnesota. Minnesota minus 5.5, totals 46. So decent scoring in this one. What do you like?
Minnesota secondary 28th. Minnesota defensive front seven 24th. Tampa Bay running backs dead last 32. Tampa Bay offensive line 29th. Tampa Bay's quarterback right after Sam Howell, number 31. Not a lot of faith in Baker. So Tampa Bay's strength, obviously, we know are their receivers. These are some crazy stats. In 2022, they ran 144 more routes than the next team, right? They ran 1,678 more routes than the number 32 team. It's just wild. I mean, obviously, it's not going to continue. That was with Tom Brady, obviously, right?
Yes.
But I think, the coaching staff's still there. There's not, it still will be a high number. They had the most targets, the most receptions. So all that being said, I'm going Mike Evans over 56.5 yards, minus 120 on FanDuel. He is playing tomorrow. The contract stuff is out the window. He said he will not be a holdout. He will be on the field tomorrow. The contract negotiations are over. He'll be a free agent in 2024. He went over in 10 of 16 last season. But he went over, as you can see right there, in his first 6 of 7 and averaged 82.5 yards in those first 7 games. So I like him. He's a guy who always gets banged up. So let's take advantage of him when he's healthy at the beginning of the season here and cash some tickets on him when he's healthy. Before you interject, I also love same deal with who was it earlier? The other receiver that I gave the receptions for.
Peoples-Jones, yeah.
Yeah, Peoples-Jones. I also love Evans 3.5 receptions, but it's minus 146. But I also think that's if you don't mind the juice or want to put it in a parlay or something, I think those are both great. But my play is the 56.5 yards over.
Oh, yeah, I don't mind that juice. Look at that.
Yeah, I know.
Like you said, I mean, he's an elite guy when he's healthy. He's still got another couple of good years. The only thing I will correct you on with Mike Evans is he's not going to be a free agent for the Bucks because he's probably going to be a Chief by week number 2 or 3.
Okay,
is what I'm hearing after that
I
horrible.
can see that for sure. So those Chiefs receivers did not look great.
Yeah. All right. I'm sticking in the same realm. We got Chris Godwin. Those receptions look phenomenal. I'll stay on that page for a second. I actually did like his receiving yards, but if you look at that, receptions, 5.5. Again, that was with Tom Brady, not Baker Mayfield. But nevertheless, this guy's could very well be the best receiver on the team, right? He could be a better receiver than Evans. But regardless, I kind of like that 5.5, especially at plus money, plus 118. And I also like the yards. What do we got? 55.5. I think you can. Yeah, that's the best, and that's actually across all the books. So that line's probably going to stay tight there. But I think that's nice too. So, and he has big play potential.
Big time. Yeah.
40 plus yards, only one game, but look at all those 20 plus yard games that he had as well down here. Yeah. So I think you can cover that in just a couple catches potentially. So, and they're going to, think about the game script, and that's a point we talked about in the NBA season, but like, think about how this game is going to play out, right? Are they going to be up and trying to kill clock by running the ball, or are they going to be down and trying to catch up by throwing the ball? I think there's a much higher chance they're 5.5 point underdogs here. I think there's a much higher chance they could be down a couple touchdowns trying to get back in the game. So
and they have according to Warren Sharp, they have the worst running back room in the entire league. So it's not like they can even lean on a running back. This is the strength of the team. Baker's going to rely on these two guys to make anything happen tomorrow.
All right. Next one, we're going to do lightning round, right?
Lightning round.
Like, what the hell does that mean? You're just going to really give your pick very quickly. How about that?
Okay.
We got Tennessee at New Orleans. New Orleans minus 3, totals 41.5. Give me your pick. I don't even want to hear any analysis about their.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So I actually had 2, depending which way you want to go. I'm kind of fading Ryan Tannehill here. I had him for an interception, minus 105, and then also under 20.5 completions, minus 135.
That's nice.
Yeah. I can tell you why if you want.
I don't care. I'm just going to play those.
All right. Just bet it.
All right. And here's my play for this one. Receiving yards. Who do we go with? Tennessee was just a nightmare to defensively from a receiving standpoint. So I was just picking the receivers. I'm going with Michael Thomas. I'm going with your same train of thought. I'm going with your same train of thought around Mike Evans, that Michael Thomas has got 3 or 4 games in him this season. And the games that he does have, he's going to crush. And one of them is tomorrow against the terrible Tennessee D. So Mike Thomas, 43.5 receiving yards. Look at those numbers from last year, the 3 games he played.
Okay. Some big green bars there. Yeah, looks good.
All right, let's move on to a more exciting game because that one's not going to be that great. Jacksonville, Indy. Actually, this game's going to be terrible too. But Indy's getting 4.5 points at home. That's a lot for a home dog, but they're going to be bad. Total is 46.5 in this game. Where are we starting here?
I'm going the one stat I love that made me go with my pick. Indiana secondary, second to last, ranked. So I'm going Trevor Lawrence over 23.5 completions, minus 115 on DK. He did it in his last 6 of 10. He did it in one of the 2 games against Indy. He's done it in 6 of the 9 wins last season. That's it. Not going to give you anything else. Trevor Lawrence over 23.5.
I love that play. And what I love most about it is it correlates with my play.
Okay.
I have, let's go receiving yards. No, not yards. Christian Kirk, 4.5 receptions.
Okay. Highly correlated.
Highly correlated, right? What was Lawrence? 23.5.
23.5.
So I need 5 of those catches to go to Christian Kirk. Let's put them together maybe as a parlay or something and see if we're allowed to do that. That would be really cool. But I just think, look at this guy. He had a 63% hit rate last year. You look at his last 8 games of the season, 6 for 8. I know you got Ridley coming there. I know you've got pressure, from Ingram taking some touches. But I just think people are over discounting the value of Christian Kirk. I think this week is going to be an opportunity to get some real value. I think by next week this will be up to 5.5 again. So, like it.
You're probably right. I do like it. Yeah, I like all these receivers for Jacksonville.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's move on to a game you were salivating about. We got Green Bay at Chicago. Nice rivalry game, but it's not going to be the same without Aaron Rodgers there.
Yes.
But anyway, Chicago's minus 1.5 at home. Totals 41.5. What are you feeling here?
Here's the matchup. Chicago's defensive front 7, 30th. Green Bay's offensive line 6th. Green Bay's running backs 3rd. Let's go Aaron Jones over 22.5 receiving yards. He's done it in 5 straight games against Chicago. 24, 38, 30, 34, 43. Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah, I like that. And what is he doing reception wise? He doesn't do it in a whole lot of catches either, right? 3 catches, 5 catches. But it doesn't take that much to get. He just needs one to break off, and he's out.
Yeah, right? And if you're scared off by the low number of targets he'll get, you could do rush and receiving. It's 85.5, minus 115 on DK. He had 170 rush and receiving in that one game against Chicago last year. I think both of them are pretty good, but I'm going with just the receiving.
Yeah, and just to mention, 22.5 at DraftKings. You can also get that at 20.5 at BetMGM. That's 2 extra yards. It's pretty good. Wow. So I would take that for sure.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I'm going back to the running quarterback, but now I'm actually going with a quarterback that is really good at running. I'm going with Justin Fields. What was his line? Oh, no. So I did like the 60.5 rushing yards. This is what he did against Green Bay last year, which you can get as low as 58. But my play, this is a new one for the show. Longest rush is 18.5 or 17.5. It's actually down to 17.5. I like that even more.
That seems very nice.
That seems very nice. Look at this guy. Look at these last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games of the season. Really, even before that, kind of the last 10 games of the season. Look what he did. Just like busted for a long.
Skyscrapers there.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. 40 plus. He had 4 40-plus yard rushes. I remember like watching every single one of those. And all these 20-plus yard rushes. I mean, this guy, he gets a lot of rushing attempts. Look at that. We're talking about running backs before, getting 14.5 rushing attempts. This guy, over these 10 games, averaged 11.8 at the quarterback position. So people are saying, he's going to focus more on passing this year. But again, 18 yards, that takes 1 run. And regardless, he's not going to give up on what his biggest asset is, which is being a mobile quarterback. So look for him to bust this out. I'm calling a first quarter cash on this one.
All right. I love it. There we go. Can we bet that?
That would be phenomenal. All right. Next, we got Philly at New England. This is going to be a fun game. New England's getting 3.5 at home. Total is 45. I know our buddy Breezy has been just, hyping this up for like weeks. So I can't wait to see what she puts out. But yeah, what do you like here?
That number's come down, which makes me think there's lots of sharp money coming in on the Pats here. I do like that 3.5. I liked it. It was 4.5, I think, earlier in the week. I like that quite a bit. I think New England's going to surprise some people here, and everyone's high on Philly. But I remember those those teams that kind of go to the Super Bowl the next year. Things are a little hit or miss. So what do I like here? New England's front 7, 20th overall. Their secondary 12th. I like Jalen Hurts over 41.5 rush yards. minus 105. He did this in 5 of 7 games on the road, averaging 61.6. But the only 2 misses were in gigantic blowouts to Houston and Washington when he just didn't even play in the second half, basically. So he's cleared, basically, the way I look at it, he cleared this in every single game on the road last season. I don't think it'll be a blowout against New England, obviously, like I just said. So let's go Hurts over 41.5.
Yeah, look at those. Look at those road ones. Wow.
Yep.
Oh, and on Sunday. Road on Sunday.
There you go.
Look at all these great little filters we have here. I love that, and I love it so much because you and I were pretty much on the same thing. Kind of. I mean, I this is my only other touchdown play for the day, but I think he's a slam dunk for
he'll run one in.
Yeah, rushing touchdown. So let's look at what he did. We could do anytime touchdown, right? There we go.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, just look at the end of the season, right? Last 10 games. He cleared in 8 of his last 10. So these are like McCaffrey-like numbers here. Yeah. This guy, was
and he's running behind the best offensive line in the league.
Yeah, and honestly, anything that gets within 5 yards of the goal line is like it's Jalen Hurts time, which is just phenomenal. So go with this one. You basically get almost similar stats to McCaffrey, who was plus 100, and you get plus 135 for this one. So I think that's a great play.
Nice.
All right, cool. Las Vegas and Denver. Denver minus 3.5 at home. Total is 43.5. A lot of these games are 3.5 point spreads, huh? That's by no chance there. So if you're liking any of those,
go with the dogs.
Yeah, go with the dogs, or pay the juice and get that down to 2.5. You'll thank us when that last second field goal goes through. Okay, what do you like here?
Here's the matchup we're taking advantage of here. I love this. Vegas front 7, 29th overall. Vegas secondary, 30th overall. Denver's offensive line, surprisingly, 7th overall. So we're going to go with Javonte Williams over 45.5 rush yards, minus 115 on DK. He obviously only played four games last season, got hurt in the 4th game. Look at those first 3 games, 43, 75, 58. He's their lead back. I read some stuff. He's healthy. He's ready to rock. They did sign what's his name, Perrine, to a small little contract as insurance, but Williams is their guy, and he's healthy and ready to go.
So I love that play. I mean, there's not a lot of data, like you said, but look at what he did last year. The 2 games he didn't clear, 7 attempts and 10 attempts. He was splitting with Swift there. Yep. The games that he did clear, he I'm sorry, not with Swift, but the games he did clear, Gordon, he was Gordon. He was at 15 and 15 rushing attempts. If we look at what his projected rushing attempts are, he's at 11. So he's going to be north of those 2 games that he missed. I think it's a no-brainer. I think he's
you'll see this number much higher, I think, in a week or 2.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. All right. Very nice. All right. What did I have in this game? I like Cortland Sutton over 49.5 receiving yards.
My second favorite play.
Yeah, I saw on our little shared sheet here, Tom highlighted my pick green, which got me excited. I didn't know what that meant, but now I know it was something. Either I had like something stupid, or we both
green is good. Green is good.
Green is good. All right. Wow, though. Holy moly! Did this one was at 49.5 earlier today, and is already up to 53.5, 54.5
on all the books.
Caesars has it at 55.5, DraftKings at 54.5, BetMGM at 53.5. So definitely somebody else was on this one with us. I mean, Vegas is weak from defending the pass, and Cortland Sutton is a beast. So
and Judy's out, so he's their number 1 receiver, and he's going to see a lot of targets.
So I think this is a good play, even at 54.5. I don't love it as much. I did like that 50, but look, the games where he did clear, he cleared it by, he had 60 plus in all of them. So I think it's still good play. Yeah. All right. Actually, we don't have, do we have Sutton? I mean, Judy on this list here? No, I was trying to see if he was.
I don't think he's.
Yeah. I don't know what his status is, but I don't
think he's playing.
Okay, awesome. All right, now we got Miami and at the Chargers. Chargers are minus 3 at home. Total's 50.5 points. So big scoring game here. What do you like here?
So this is I didn't know where to go. I'm not like breaking news to say this is probably the most exciting game of the day. At least the one I'm looking forward to the most. I think this is the matchup I like. So Warren Sharp had it's different from what you'll see if you just look back on what happened last season. Based on the offseason moves, Sharp's got Miami's front 7 number 1 overall, and he's got Miami's secondary number 2 overall. So in a game with a lot of passes being thrown, I'm going Justin Herbert to throw a pick. It's plus 130. He's thrown picks in 5 of 7 at home last season. They have no home field advantage. They probably have more Dolphins fans at this game, honestly, tomorrow than Chargers fans. And I love the plus 130. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a great quarterback. He was my top pick on the future show for quarterbacks, but he does tend to make some questionable decisions. And that's what you get when you throw the ball. Remember, he makes the most pass attempts out of any quarterback, so that's going to increase his probability of a interception. So
that's the theory here. Yep.
so I think that's a good play. All right, same team. I like our guy Keenan Allen. So his receiving yards are good. Again, we got a theme here.
Get him early.
Let's take the guys who are going to break down week 4 and play them the first 3 weeks of the season. Yes. Keenan Allen, honestly, is one of the best receivers in the league when he's healthy.
Yes.
He's just so dynamic, such a great pass catcher.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not healthy, but he is healthy tomorrow. So I like his total receiving yards, but my play was actually his longest reception. There it is. Yeah, at 21.5. So look at that. In the 6 games that he played last year, he cleared that in 4 out of the 6 games. In the one game, he only had 18 against. It was actually against Miami, but I just think he's going to put up a 20-yard catch tomorrow. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm on board.
25-yard catch.
Yeah, I love Keenan Allen, and you got to be able to you want to cash some tickets on these guys, especially these older guys. You got to do it early in the season.
Yeah. Although he's completely on my ban list for fantasy football. I can't draft him anymore. All right, let's play the other LA team here. We got the Rams and the Seahawks. Who do you like here? The Seahawks are minus 4.5 at home. Total's 45.5. Tell me you're playing Geno.
No, not playing Geno. But I love that the 4.5 laying the 4.5 there at Seattle. I think in a week or two that line would probably be like 7.5. I think that's a great play. The Rams secondary, Sharpie's got him ranked dead last. He's got their front 7 ranked 31st. So we're going with a receiver for Seattle. Seattle's got a thing with tight ends. So Seattle targeted their tight ends 25% of the time last season. That was 7th overall. Their tight ends combined for 136 targets, which was 5th. They were 3rd in receptions, 3rd in yards, and 4th in touchdowns. So Geno loves his tight ends. Pete Carroll loves his tight ends. We're going Noah Fant over 2.5 receptions, minus 120. Both games against the Rams last year, he had 4 receptions in both games. I'm not going to get into too much more. I think that's it. I didn't see a ton of props out of him, but Will Dissly too. If you see anything on him, you get a 90% completion percentage, 9.2 yards per attempt, 66% success rate. So he's the other tight end there. I think the line will be pretty low, but I didn't see a ton of props out on him. But Noah Fant's the guy, but I look at Dissly too here.
Yeah, I like that a lot. 2.5, it's like nothing.
Yeah.
Although I do have to tell you, like most of the times I've played these 2.5 reception plays, the guy gets 2 in the first quarter, and then you just wait. You just wait the whole game, and then you're down to like 3 minutes left in the game. You're still waiting for that one.
You want to pull up his yards and take a look, see if it looks better?
No, I still like the play. I'm just telling you what to expect. Okay. Don't be mad at us if it's the fourth quarter with 3 minutes left and you're waiting for that third catch.
Yeah.
But he'll get there. Yeah. Hopefully it's like a first half cash, and we don't even deal with that sweat. All right,
Give it to me.
I love that play. This was one of the guys you played on the Future show, Cam Akers. Look at the last 3 weeks of the season.
Yeah, he crushed.
Just totally crushed. 118 yards, 123, 104. Completely dominated, going up against a Seattle team that is not good defensively against the rush. And I just, I kind of wanted to play his total rushing yards, kind of wanted to play his longest rush at 15.5, but I settled on his rush attempts at 15.5. I think he's going to get there. He did in 4 of the last 6 games of the season, and as the primary back, I think he's good for 16 rush attempts tomorrow. Good?
Seems right. Yep.
Seems doable. All right, and last, let's round this off. Hang with us. We got Dallas at Giants. So that's probably probably truly the most exciting game of the night. That is the Sunday Night Football game, and the Giants are home dogs plus 3.5. Total is 45.5. Can't wait for this game. Can't wait to hear what you have to say. What do you like?
Don't love the home dog here as much. Kind of leaning Dallas in this one. Here's the matchup I like. New York secondary, 27th overall. Dallas offensive line, 8th. Dallas QB, 8th. Let's go Dak Prescott. I haven't had a ton of quarterback plays here, but Dak Prescott over 236.5 yards, minus 114 on FanDuel. I don't know if it's changed, but
yeah, no, you got it.
He had 261 against the Giants. He only played the Giants once last year because he was hurt, but he had 261 in that game. He cleared this in 9 of 12 overall, 5 of 7 on the road. He's averaged 262.3 against the Giants in his career. And since 2017, so taking out his rookie season, in 2017 against the Giants, 268. 2018, 387. 2019, this is in New York. 2019, 257. 2020 didn't play, and 2021, 217. So that was the only year he didn't go over in New York, and he's had some monster games in New York.
Yeah, I love that. I'm just looking, he had a 64% hit rate in all the games last year and a 78% hit rate in winning games. So you think that they're going to win?
I think they are.
So that sounds like a really good play. Probably upsetting a lot of Giants fans that are listening, but it's all good. It's a long season.
Yeah, that is.
All right, somewhat correlated. I think he's my favorite receiver in the league from a fantasy standpoint. I definitely drafted him. And it helps your cause here a little bit. I like CeeDee Lamb. Loved him on the Future Show. Love his potential for tomorrow night from a total receiving standpoint. Look at those numbers, 47% hit rate, but really it's how he closed the season, 100 plus yards in 4 out of the last 6 games. But what I like the longest reception. Let's look at the last 10 games of the season. He cleared this in 7 out of the last 10 games of the season. So I think he's, going to crush this. What do we get? 24.5 there. You can get it at 23.5 at FanDuel or DraftKings. So again, another longest reception. Not usually my favorite plays, but tomorrow I'm feeling this because I love just being able to cash this on one play. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, it's great, and the Giants secondary is the matchup you want to target in this game. So I love that.
Look at his 2 games against New York last year: 26-yard catch and 25-yard catch. So he's a big time player, and Dak is back, ready to toss the ball to him. That's a very good point too. Dak was missing kind of for the first half of the
yes.
season, right, where he was down, and Dak was back for all of this. So, there you have it. Those are all the Sunday games. We got through it all, and kind of got to show off a little of the great analytics that we use at Props.cash too.
Yep. So that was good. It was a lot, but we're going to get a couple of our favorite ones up on X tonight and tomorrow morning, and really looking forward to it. It's going to be a great NFL season. So we'll circle the wagons, get the picks up, and let's all make some money.
Let's do it.